So yeah, once again, thank you all for joining us for today's webinar on how to design a website that matches your brand. This is our fourth webinar in the Get Your Business Online webinar series. My name is Michael. I'm the head of content marketing and partnerships here at GetResponse, and together I'm here today with Ada, who is our content marketing specialist, but also our blog editor here at GetResponse. And she's been working with us for 4 years now. Actually, this week is her work anniversary. So super pumped about this opportunity because it's her first webinar as well. To share a bit of her background, why she's actually talking on this topic right now, she's actually doing her master's degree now in business and design, or design in business, actually. So super happy about having able to not only share her experience with us here working at GetResponse, but also with everything else that she's learning about in her studies.
Hi, everyone. It's really nice to see you all here. And thank you, Michael, for the great, lovely introduction. I'm very excited to run this webinar, and what we're going to talk about today is the basics of building a beautiful website, a good, accessible website, and a website that is true to your business and really authentic. And the main thing I want you to think about before creating a website. It's kind of abstract, but the answer to this question will inform every choice you make later. It will be your foundation for building everything on the website, from the fonts to the shapes to the blocks. And the question is, how does your brand feel like? Because it's all about the essence, the vibe. And as you can see, I used fonts to express this, but it's much more than that. Your brand can give off a professional vibe. It can be warm. It can be mature. It can be quirky, playful, classic, or trendy. And you might think that those are some extremes, some opposite ends of a spectrum. But it's actually not true. You can have a mix of almost everything, and that's what makes brands unique. Because if there's so many brands out there, there has to be a unique mix to every single brand there is. And let's see some examples of. It's basically the same website, but it's done in slightly different styles. It's a resume website, and the one on the left is very modern, creative, and trendy, whereas the second one is pretty classic, pretty simple and serious, and they're both professional. So each one has a slightly different mix of all the features. In this one's, the one on the left is very sleek and elegant, and the one on the right, even though it uses a similar color scheme, similar blocks, it's warm and inviting, and it's also sleek and elegant. So there's small variations, and even in very similar designs. As you can see, they use the same colors, the same squarish shapes, similar fonts, but they just have different approach, and they say different things. And if you answered yourself, like, what do you want your customers to feel on your website, to do on your website, and how do you want them to feel about your brand as a whole, as your about your products or your services? As I said, it's gonna build a great foundation for every choice you make during the website building process. So let's talk about the basic website design principles. What your website should have, and it's the most important thing of all, is a clear purpose. Because if a visitor visits your website, they should know right away why they're there, and what are you trying to make them do. So for example, if it's an event website, it's an event page, you want to have the dates, the call to action buttons right away, the details of the event, instead of just making people scroll through a portfolio or a gallery beforehand, because it's an event website, right? If it's personal, it should have personal details right up front, and then you can have other elements later. You can of course mix it a little bit, but a clear purpose is what makes people convert and be happy with how you build the website, and be just certain why they're there, why they're here. And the next basic like design principle is having simplicity and harmony. And first of all, in color, as you can see, these are two screenshots of the same website, the exact same website. It has everything up to the fonts, and everything is the same, but the color palette is different. And it doesn't mean that you should have a really toned down and earth toned color palette to look cohesive. It can be bright and bold and daring, but having a good base of one basic color, a muted down color, or just a single solid one for the background, one very contrasting one for the fonts so that they stand out and all the text is readable, and a few accent colors. And I'm going to show you later a tool for creating custom palettes. But you should also know that in GetResponse, when you use our templates in our website creator, you have a few pre-designed templates. And also, if you use the AI website builder, you can import your logo, and the AI creator will just create the color palette for you from the logo. So it's really, really useful. And by the way, I didn't mention it before, but every website example and everything I'm showing you in this presentation is taken from the free templates we have in GetResponse. So you can recreate everything in a very simple way. And let's go to another part of simplicity and harmony, and it's in typography. And simplicity and harmony in typography doesn't mean that you should have the most basic fonts or just one font altogether. Um, it means that you should have, I would suggest having two or three, up to three separate fonts to use, um, and make them look nice together. So if you have a very modern and almost futuristic font for your heading, maybe it's not the best idea to have a handwriting font for the paragraph. And also, you can go crazy with the heading. You can pick the fanciest font there is, and there's a lot of fonts available on the internet, but the paragraph should really be a simpler font to make what you're trying to convey readable, easily skimmable, and just useful. And the most important part, the most important font to choose is the font on the buttons, on the call to actions, so that it's right there, bam, buy now or sign up. It's visible, readable, and just perfect to click. Um, Next is intuitive navigation, and it's also pretty straightforward. Your navigation should first of all be where people expect it to be. It doesn't mean that you should follow every single brand that there is and follow how they create their layouts, but people usually expect the navigation to be in the menu bar, above the header, the first image, just right up top. And also the second thing, and it's really, really important, is to make the names of the pages really really intuitive. Like, as you can see in the second example here, first of all, it's above the logo, so it's really, really high up and not where people expect it to be. And also, here's just confusing titles for all the sub pages on the website. As you can see, home, main page, it's just confusing. Next is the layout. And what you should keep in mind every time you build a new website is a basically a grid layout. It's easy to do in our creator because and especially using our templates, it's really hard to mess them up. I tried to mess up our templates to make the second screenshots, and it's really hard to make them look bad. I tried, and I don't think I failed there. So as you can see, there's not a lot of white space, and the white space doesn't have to be white. It just means the space where there isn't a clear target, and there's no pictures, no graphics, no copy. And also, you should remember that the most common patterns that people skim the website in are an F-shaped pattern. So they read a horizontal line first, they skim downwards, read another horizontal line, etc. In cultures where the language is written from right to left, it's actually mirrored, so it's from right to left and downwards. And the other pattern is a Z pattern, so from left to right, and then on a diagonal, another left, right. And also, what you can see is there's not enough space. As I said, it's the white space that makes it the website, lets the website breathe and the copy breathe. Also, on the grid, you should remember not to put huge blocks of copy, because it will make the website look chunky and just make people want to click away and not read everything there is that you want to say. And speaking of layout, there's also a visual hierarchy you can use. So group together parts of the website that are similar and are trying to convey the same message. Also, choose your targets wisely and make them stand out, either by contrast, by size, or where they're placed on the website. As you can see in this template, and it's also really good that it's so small, because there's this thing called like a skin test or a squint test. If you can see the copy clearly, but you can make out what should be there, the website design is good. So you can see clearly that there's a form, there's a button, there's some descriptions, maybe some reviews, and another form. And you can see clearly where you should click and where you should put your details in, even though it's really far away. It means that the website is designed really well. If it stands out and everything that should be close together is close together, and it's not spread out throughout the whole website. Another very important thing is the content and copy. So content is what makes the website. It's all the things you want to say about your business, you want to show about your business, your products, your services, described and shown in a very convincing way. And copy is what makes people really connected to you. And as you can see in the templates we suggest what should be where. So for example, when you are supposed to pick a title, we say add your title. It's really easy to know what should be where. For example, here we say pick an inspiring quote, make people feel inspired as they enter your website. And if you really don't know what to put on the website, it's really great to stick to the template. You can also make up your own blocks, but remember not to put unnecessary content unless it looks really cool and you just want it to be there, because maybe people will think that it's cool too. But think of the crucial things you want to be there, and maybe for like the first time building a website, only put the things that you know are completely necessary. And the last important thing to keep in mind when designing a website is the mobile friendliness. So everything you create on the website should be easily visible on a mobile phone, easily clickable, and just perfectly optimized so that people can use the website as effectively as they use it on their desktop. And in the GetResponse website builder, you can actually consistently preview the website you create on how it looks on mobile, and very easily hide basically every section of the website on mobile, so it just doesn't show up, doesn't um, spread out the sections unnecessarily, because not everything that looks beautiful on desktop will look good on mobile. And that's really what you should keep in mind, because in this day and age, if your website it looks poorly on mobile, people are not gonna convert. And what your business needs on this website, it's all the things that will convert people, right? So for example, essential elements. If you create products or have a lot of visual assets that represent your brand very well, consider a gallery. It's an amazing tool to just visibly show people who you are and what they can expect from you. If you have videos, it's perfect to include them, but not every business needs a video and not every business has this. So really consider if you have something educational or maybe entertaining or an ad that you want to put there. Consider also which social media to connect with the website. If you don't really use, for example, Pinterest or Instagram as a brand, you shouldn't really put the icon there, because people are gonna click on it, go to your page if you have one, and just see you're not really active there and be just turned off a little. Very essential elements are CTA buttons, and every single business should have CTA buttons on their page. And forms, either sign up or contact forms where the CTA buttons also are. If you mean to collect comments from your visitors or their messages, it's really good to have a contact form on your website with a comments section. And if you're not really planning to read comments from the visitors, don't don't really um, don't really use the contact forms, because as I said, not every business is going to do this. And sign up forms, if you offer newsletters, it's basically essential to have it. And you don't have to use existing blocks to make a great website. You can build basically your own elements on the website. And this example in the upper right corner is exactly that. It's a section that you can maybe show off projects in. For example, I've done 18 projects. I have 2,000 happy customers and a 5-star rating below. And it's not a ready-made blog, but you can go creative, go crazy with this, and just figure out something very unique you're trying to put there, and try to build it from scratch, and it's going to be so rewarding, and it's going to make you stand out from the competition who just doesn't do that. Another thing is useful sub pages, and every website should have at least a few. In the GetResponse website free builder, you can have, I think, up to 10 sub pages, and in paid plans you have them unlimited. But I guarantee 10 is just more than enough for starters. And the first thing every website needs is a homepage. It's the hub for everything you do, and all the most important and visual elements should be there. And every business needs an about us page. So tell people what you do, when you started, what motivates you, what your values, because people, when they visit your website, they just want to know a little more about you. A contact subpage is great for just contact forms basically, and making people leave their information. And if you want to get customers who are looking for custom solutions or answers to the questions, this subpage is essential. A pricing page can be useful if you offer different tiers of pricing. For example, a 404 error page is also necessary, because sometimes something's not going to work. Somebody will type in the wrong URL and they have to be redirected somewhere. An FAQ page, if you have lots of questions that are repeating and customers always contact you with the same basic questions every time, an FAQ is what you need there. If you have great reviews, make a review subpage. It doesn't have to be on the main homepage of your website. It can be a dedicated subpage altogether. And if you have many visual assets, really consider a completely separate subpage for the gallery. And the last thing you really need is basic search engine optimization. So really think about um, your keywords for your business. Um, and in the editor, you can actually put different meta titles. So the title you can see when you search in Google for every subpage, and the meta description, and it's what you can see below. And it's basically a description that's inviting people to click on your website. And also you should consider which page to index, so which one should appear in the search results. And another really useful tip is to optimize your images, because if you have a lot of images on the website and they're really heavy and they're really big, the load time is gonna get longer, and Google really doesn't like that. So just consider optimizing the images, and I'm going to show you a recommendation for a tool that does this really quickly and for free. And also, if you're writing copy for the website, really also use keywords, but not too much. I'm sure every one of you saw a website someday that was just filled with unnecessary repetitions of the same words. It's just a bad practice, and you should just avoid that altogether. So useful tools for website assets are, and all of them are free to use. So for creating color palettes, as I mentioned in the beginning, you can use colors, and it generates random color palettes, and you can customize it to your liking and copy the color codes into the creator, so you'll just have it right away in the website builder. For writing copy, you have Grammarly, and it's also a free tool that checks your spelling, checks your grammar, and even if you're really sure about your abilities, it's really great to have a proofreading tool, um, just to be extra sure. For optimizing images, there's Squoosh, and as I said, it's really simple. You just paste or upload the image you want to optimize, and in an instant you have a smaller image that won't load for as long as the original would. If you need icons for your website, there's many free icon libraries. For example, Flat Icon is the biggest free icon library on the internet, and the licensing, I believe, is it's free if you give an attribution even in the footer of your website, so you don't have to write a description below every icon with the author. Just put the author in the footer, and you have free icons to use whenever. And if you don't really have a logo, um, you can use Fiverr's logo maker and create your own logo in seconds. So the next step is, let's actually build a website together. I see that we still have half an hour, so let's build something in our creator. And I'm gonna start my screen sharing actually right now. So let's create a website. As you can see, I'm logged into my account. I don't have any website made already, so let's start with the first one. And you have, as for now, you have two options uh, to how to build your site. You can use the AI powered builder, and it's really a fun tool, and I really recommend you to check it out after the webinar, because even if you're not gonna create the website using this builder, it's just really awesome to see its possibilities and how it predicts what you would need on the website. But I really like looking at already pre-made websites to see what I like and to tweak it to my liking. And in the AI Power Builder, you can also tweak what comes out. But in the templates, you have ready designs, and if you love something, you can just edit it slightly and the perfect website is there. So as you can see, there's so many templates to choose from. And first of all, we have to pick business that we want to create the website for. And I'm thinking, for example, about a florist, because fun fact, in my hometown there's 20 florists and only one has a website. So I've been thinking about this a lot, that why don't florists have website? But let's not go with the simplest option. Maybe let's use this one. It just pops, um, looks already, grabs my attention right away. And if you have never used our creator before, it's gonna take you just a second to get used to the layout, and I'm gonna quickly tell you what is where. So here you have the Manage Pages tab, and you can create all the sub pages you want to have on the website. For example, here we have already pre-made home, our works, about us, get in touch, and edit them, add new ones, delete them. If the template is perfect for you but somehow the sub pages are wrong, it takes just seconds to fix them, and I'm gonna show you in a minute. The second dot here is the global design, and I recommend doing it first so that you can just feel the branding coming through the template. Um, and here you have add elements, and I'm gonna show this to you last because there's just so many to choose from. So let's start with the global design. Mm, as you can see, the color palette is really bold and I would say trendy and modern, but I want something more toned down. So let's choose a pre-existing palette and tweak it a little bit. So let's say my florist brand needs some floral colors, right? Mm, but something's not working here. So maybe let's choose a different color for buttons, a different accent color, and you can see the changes you make immediately. So it's really nice. You don't have to guess how it would look, but just pick it right here and now, and it's gonna look perfect, exactly as you want it. So I already made the website look a little bit warmer, a little bit more inviting than the first really spacious um, spacious look it had, because it was white with just a pop of color, and now it's a slight green. I don't know if you can see it when I'm sharing the screen, but the background is slightly tinted green. So uh, let's go. Okay, that's cool. Typography. So we have something very modern here, and we want something more traditional, I'm thinking. And it's also super easy to choose. I have I have a lot of fonts here, but I also can add custom fonts. And what you can see is you can choose any web font, and there's literally hundreds of them. Um, for example, let's say this one. And a fallback font is something that will load when the web font can't load. So an alternative that would just take the place of the font that you've chosen when it's just not supported or available. So let's add this font and see how it looks. Okay, I kind of vibe with that. Heading 2 is just um, too sleek and straight for this to work with the heading 1 font. Let's say we want something similar to this. No, it's just too straight still. Okay, heading 2 is chosen, and paragraph. Mm, I want to see what I chose for the heading 2. It's Cormorant Government. Let's choose the same font I chose for heading 2, and it's immediately changed the whole vibe of the front page. So, and you can change the link style, and I recommend always using the underline option for links so that it's easily visible that it's a link. And the hover link style is just what happens when you hover over it. So yes, it should be maybe bolder or in italics. The disclaimer font, I really recommend keeping it very simple and readable, and to really never use handwritten fonts for this, because disclaimers are just something important and that you don't want people to miss, and it just is basically a given on a website that is readable and in a simple font. Mm, okay, I think we're done with the typography. And let's change the buttons. So we have a lot of different styles for buttons. And you will see in a second, you can have some pretty fun and graphic styles. And you can choose any of them, but I think I'm gonna go with themed buttons because they're just fit the theme automatically, and you can't go wrong with them. And let's say we want a really warm and soft look, so we pick the soft oval shape. Mm, it's round. The size can be a little bigger. And if you want some advanced settings, you can choose the radius. I don't think. Let's change it to 700. I don't think it's showing right here, but I really don't really ever play with those. Oh, yeah, it showed me the radius of the curve of the button. Um, so let's say we want it smaller, and it's 600. And if we're feeling kind of 3D, we can add a shadow. But on a simple website, I would stay clear of the shadows because a 2D look is always really classy. Mm, that's that's not to say that shadows can be classy, but it's just sleeker, more professional. Because sometimes people can go a little bit overboard with the shadows, and they just clutter the website. So what you see here, the orange blocks here, are spacers that are hidden on mobile devices. And if you want to preview how it looks on a mobile device, you can just click here. And as you can see, there's no spacers here, no empty space at all. And it's just tidier because I can show you how it would look like if we unclick it, because it creates this fun look with white space on desktop. But let's say we want to keep it on mobile devices. It's just unnecessary empty blank space that could be used in a more efficient way. So let's keep it simpler as it was and hide it on mobile devices. Okay, as it was. Because as I said, it's hard to mess up the templates we have here, but you you can you can do it, and it's gonna take you a lot of work, but you can mess them up. And I really like how it looked already, so no point in changing the white spaces here. And there's so many templates that you can choose another one without the white space if you're not a fan of it, and of course that's possible. So let's say we want to change the logo, and I already uploaded a logo for a florist before to my files, um, and let's use it. I made it really quickly in seconds, so don't judge me on the logo skills, please. And let's make it a little bit bigger because every logo is different, right? And we want it to be visible and recognizable. So let's make it just a tiny bit bigger. And on the right here, you can also choose absolute positioning for every element you have. And what it means is that you can place it anywhere you want and it won't stick to a certain grid. But on different devices, it's um, it's possible, not given but possible, that it would just slide somewhere else slightly or be misplaced a little bit. So if you're not exactly sure about this, um, maybe keep the elements up to a grid. But let's say I'm gonna do absolute position here. Let's scroll down. there's a divider here, and if your template that you've chosen has a divider and you just don't like it, you can delete it simply by clicking delete. But I like it. I just think it's a little bit too long. Let's say we want it at 60 pixels or 54. And in the middle, it gives a nice flow to the website and right to the gallery. So I don't think I've mentioned it, but the GetResponse builder integrates with Unsplash. It's a free stock photo library, and you can choose from so many professional photos if you don't have your own assets. And in some cases, for example, for header images, I would recommend using stock photos. And for galleries, I would recommend using your own photos if you have them, because uh, there's really no point in having a full gallery of stock photos. But in places where you just need a standalone graphic to enhance the look of the page, absolutely go for it, and just use the Unsplash library. I really love the library. It's one of the best ones, if not the best one there is. So let's say we want this photo, because we're using a florist as an example and not really real estate. It's slowly loading, but it's there. So as you can see, it's just too big, right? It should be a little bit smaller, and let's test how it looks. Okay, okay, that's that's not too bad. Maybe put it on the left. No, the middle works just fine. And also you can change the size individually. So the width, let's say we want it to be 1,000, for example. It's gonna squeeze your picture a little bit, so maybe keep the lock there and take it back to 600. Um, in the block settings, you can also choose padding, and it's gonna push uh, the content of the block in all sizes on or all sides or in either side. So for example, if you want it more to the left or more to the right, just adjust the single measurements with this little lock pad unlocked. But let's say we love how it looks. It fits the theme somehow, and here we have the gallery. So in the gallery, you can choose many different images, upload your own products or your own behind the scenes photos maybe. And there's a couple of different display styles. So as you can see, it's more closer together, and the grid is just really lined up. Everything's really the same size, and the slideshow is something you can just click through. But I think the one that looks best is masonry. Uh, so they're kind of unique, and different sizes give also some element of interest to the website. And the image size, let's play around with it a little bit, because you don't have to make them really big. Just a medium size library is perfect. I like it already. And maybe let's delete this one picture, because I don't know, because there's too many pictures. It's super easy, and the gallery already looks a little bit better. Here you have an About Us section, and you can delete it altogether if you don't want it here. So maybe let's say we're gonna delete it. We're not gonna make the website personal, and delete the dividers. And what you see below already, what you can see here, is a contact form. So you can customize the contact form however you want. You can edit the fields. For example, if you don't want to say, for example, you don't want them to say message, um, you can choose whatever you want. What to do after a form is submitted. So if somebody sends a message, mm, you can say, for example, thank you, or redirect to another page or site. It can be within the website, so for example, to another sub page, but just a simple thank you will do. You can play around with the copy and figure out something unique for your tone of voice as a business. Mm, and yes, uh, okay, the contact form is perfect. I mentioned linking only to the platforms you use. So let's say we also want to link to LinkedIn, link to Twitter, um, and you just paste the link and add alt text. So this is what will appear if the button doesn't show the icon. And you can also edit the icons. So let's say we want it to be colorful, uh, or maybe it doesn't really fit uh, uh, our templates. So let's pick the dark ones. And horizontal is slightly better when it comes to the social media, because if you have a lot of them, the vertical layouts will just spread them out unnecessarily. Um, okay, I like it already. Um, and what you have here, so the sub pages I talk about all the time. So let's click on our works, and our works features something completely different, but in these templates it looks similar, but it's just a whole page dedicated to a gallery and testimonials. So if you have some happy customers who don't mind sharing their feedback, just put what they said here, and visitors of your website will be really glad that they can read somebody else's opinion, not only yours, of course. There's another contact form. I like it. Mm, About us page is the thing I deleted from the main page, but you still can have a separate dedicated page for this, and you can add your own photos, of course. It doesn't have to be random people from stock, and short descriptions. As you can see, the text blocks already come with descriptions what you should put there. Um, and if you really focus on it and read it, you can get inspired in a second to write your own copy. There's another a more fleshed out testimonial block. Um, and let's see how the get in touch looks. It looks perfect. You have the address, the contact, the social media. You can also add pages. And as you can see, there's so many to choose from. And what I said at the beginning, the first question you need to answer is what you want your customers to do on your page. If you need them to read reviews, or if you need them to contact you, there's so many different sub-page templates to choose from. And I'm now looking at the clock, and it seems like we have only um, so little time left. So let's say I wanted to add the reviews page and just another page for reviews, uh, and maybe I want to delete the about us page again. So it's as simple as this, and you can see here that the about us disappeared. And it's the last thing I'm gonna do. It's rename the page, and it's reviews, and edit the URL Slack so it says also reviews. Okay, and one other thing, the homepage. Always click to the settings of the homepage. And click the SEO, and that's what I talked about earlier. Pick the page title, for example, the best florist in Poland, and the page description, we create the best flowers, bouquets, the best bouquets. And search engines should show this page in search results, so mark as index. And now we have it. And as you can see here, the other subpages can be switched off, so they don't show up in search results. Okay, as we have so little time, let's say we just want to publish the website. And website name, florist, domain, florist 1234 webinar, and I can choose from the free GetResponse domains, for example, getresponsewebsite.com. And let's just publish it. And it took me less than 20 minutes to create this website. I think the previous template was better, but I was in a real hurry to show you different options. And if you have a little bit more time than 20 minutes, it will be perfect. But no coding experience, no designers included, and I have a published website under 20 minutes. And I think I'm gonna end the sharing of the screen, and let's maybe switch for the Q&A session. Uh,
All right, thanks a lot, Ada, for doing this wonderful presentation. I can see that there was a lot of questions during our chat, in our chat during the whole presentation. So let me just pick one of the questions that we were asked before. I was trying to, by the way, answer some of the questions during the whole presentation. So I can see, Denise, that you asked us about the planning, planning of our webinars. I'm not exactly sure which topics you were interested in, but as I mentioned on the Slack, on the chat below, we're planning for Q2 already. So if there are any topics that you're interested in, feel free to ask us, for topics, and we're going to prioritize them. The first question, Ada, was about whether we're using GetResponse webinars for this, and we are.
yes.
So let's go quickly on this one. So we have one about the SEO. So I'm going to quickly tackle that one. So as you could see during the presentation and in the chat, there are essential SEO settings that you can choose for your pages. You can choose to no index them. You can schedule your pages. You can add the title, description, etc., and do all the on-page optimization within the content. But we don't currently have any additional SEO settings that you might be interested in, though we're already working on integrating GetResponse with this massive SEO tool that I cannot name at this moment, but we're going to be providing more SEO features soon. Okay, let me scroll down to see what other topics people are asking about. By the way, people seem to be enjoying this presentation, Ada, so good job on your first webinar here over there.
Thanks. I was really stressed.
Don't worry about it. This is what happens on our first webinars, and 8 years in, it still happens to me. So don't worry about that. So there was a question about private consulting services. So yes, we do consultations, we do workshops. So feel free to reach out to us after this webinar with the webinar recording email, and we'll follow up with you later on. Okay, Ada, do you want to tackle this one?
Which one? 1 second.
Should be visible on the screen.
because I switched the screens. So really quickly, yes. Duplicate some pages. Do you mean duplicate the published website you have in GetResponse? Because I'm not sure if I understand correctly.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible to duplicate an entire website at this moment. I think it was more about the individual pages within a website.
So I think it's possible. I haven't really done this ever myself, but
I think when you were showing the the editor, that there was
yes.
this feature next to edit
Yes,
settings,
I
etc.
I'm pretty sure it is really possible, but don't quote me on it. Uh,
No, it's there. It's there. I've got it in front of me, so it's there. All right, folks. I can see that for most of the questions, we've already managed to answer them. Okay, yeah. So thanks, Mark. Duplicate pages and bring it to a new one. So from Mark, you can definitely duplicate pages within one website, but you cannot, let's say, duplicate page and then move it to another website. Not at this moment, unfortunately. We'll be soon adding the duplicate website feature. So I would imagine you could have one master website, for example, that you will be duplicating and then limiting the number of pages per specific, per separate project, for example. Okay, how about migrating to GetResponse from other hosting? That's an interesting one. So actually, I'm not entirely sure how we do this. So I know that you can do hosting, on your own, but let us follow up on that one. Unless Ada, you have the right, ready answer for this one.
The one ready answer is that we have a feature coming soon that you can import a whole website to GetResponse and just use your whole design. But I'm also not sure about the migration, and I can get back to you in some time and
Yeah, for sure.
answer fully.
From what I know, we do the hosting part, and we really got invested in very fast hosting here. So assuming you're going to use our website builder, the entire website is going to be hosted by us. And I mentioned we have 5 gigabytes bandwidth for the basic and free plan, and 10 gigabytes for the plus one, and everything above has unlimited. So you can host a lot of things there. Okay, if I have a landing page using my current domain and I want to use a website builder and publish with this domain, can I use the same domain without reconfiguring the hosting? So actually, this is something that we were trying to do on our own because we actually use both landing page creator and website builder. From what I understand at this moment, if you're going to be using website builder, for example, on a subdomain, then everything there will have to be built within the website builder. That's why I think one subdomain can be used for one, let's say, page. You cannot use one subdomain for multiple pages unless, they were all, let's say, separate pages within one template, just not interlinked, because, for example, you wanted to keep them completely separate from each other. But for our own project, we had to have a separate subdomain for that. So, for example, for the website builder, Get Your Business Online campaign, we've got wb.getresponse.com. For webinar registrations for this webinar, we had webinars.getresponse.com and then / the folder, etc. All right, folks, it's 4 past and we've already gone over time, but I'm sure all of you enjoyed. I have definitely enjoyed this webinar. Thank you, Ada, for sharing all your tips and knowledge.
Thank you, Michał, and thank you to everybody, every one of you, the attendees. I really enjoyed having you as an audience for my first webinar ever. That was a great experience.
And so did I, and I'm sure everyone else enjoyed it as well. As promised, we'll be sending you the recording relatively soon. I think we should be able to send it over to you tomorrow. And if you happen to have any questions or would like to schedule some consultations, feel free to reach out to us and just reply back to our email that we're going to send you with the recording. So Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Did you see that? Yeah,
Yes, I
perfect.
just saw it.
So this is why we do it, and I'm sure we're going to do more webinars in the future. So once again, thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. Have a good night, good afternoon, depending on where you are. See ya. Bye.
Goodbye.